don't know me, my name is Gabrielle. It's been a while since I've done a video where I've interviewed somebody. So I thought it would be as good a time as ever to bring that back, and I've invited my classmate, Arina. We just finished a teaching English as a second language class at Cleveland State University, and I've got a chip in my throat, that always helps. So I wanted to bring her on. I think her story is really cool, and I really admire what she wants out of life and what her goals are. So I thought I would bring her on and we would just talk a little bit. So Arina, tell us first and foremost where you are originally from.
I was born, I feel already I'm stuck in that class. Like, I can't speak proper English.
We just did presentations and a test, so we're both like coming back in the moment a little bit here, but we'll catch up.
Normal English time.
Exactly.
I was born in Romania, in Bucharest, Romania, a while ago.
Yes. And that's the capital, correct?
Yes,
the capital.
Yeah, the capital.
For those of you who've seen Civil War, it's in there.
Civil War, oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, do you mind me asking what was your journey to the States? How old you were?
I was
story there?
10. I think we came for the better life, you know, the cliche that used to be. Now I don't know if it's as much anymore, because then when I was 5 we had a, what do you call it? And now I wanted to say civil war. It's not a civil war. It's a revolution. Close enough, sort of.
Okay.
It was a revolution. We were a dictatorship or communist country before, and in 1989, we decided that's enough, and the people revolted, and so yeah. And so after that, everything was kind of weird and unstable, maybe, and no one knew what was going to happen, and everything before that was bad. So my mom, my stepfather, my parents, they decided to come here for the better life, and
that's really exciting.
Yeah. When I was 10, I don't know if I mentioned that. Yeah.
When she was 10. Yes. So, talk about some of the cultural differences, you know, between Romania and here. I know we talked about it a little bit.
So many things. I'm still learning. The first day, I think I mentioned to you, the first day that we were in class, I don't know where to look. This is so weird. I've never done this before, so I've never been interviewed. Yeah, so in class, first day we talked about, or second day we talked about culture shock. And I never felt it. I never thought that I felt it because I was so young maybe, and either it didn't register, I got just through it because you don't really think, you just get through it, and your parents sort of take over and you're just there anyways.
Absolutely.
But lately, like all the things, like including like physical symptoms, which I didn't think were, when you think of culture shock, you don't think, oh, you get nausea or whatever. But everything was almost like check, 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 check. And so I guess I'm going through it now more. So I'm just sort of differentiating things. Sure. It's hard because you sort of, at least for me, I just adapt and I just go in. When I travel, I don't travel that often, but if I do, I pretend that I'm part of that culture already. I don't go as a tourist. I don't like that because I don't know why. I love cultures and languages, so I want to pretend like I'm part of like everyone else. And so I think I easily fool myself into thinking I'm adapting, where I adapted. So yeah, cultural differences, to get to your question after 5-10 light years.
You're fine. It's an interview. I want you to talk. That's a good thing.
You said you were concise, but no, you didn't think of me. I'm far from being concise. Well, I'll start with the thing that I guess is my biggest pain right now, and I'm trying to work through, which is career and your life and what you're expected to do. And in Romania, from what I understand, albeit I'm just part of one family, so I don't know exactly how it's there, but from what I think, Romanians are very practical. They say if you don't have a talent, if you're not born with this amazing voice, like Mariah Carey or whatever, then you shouldn't do singing. It's a waste of time and you'll never make it. And, you know, and it's not, it comes from a good place, especially coming from parents. They don't want you to fail. They don't want you to be miserable. They want you to be financially stable. They want you, you know, to have a better life than they did, or a good life like they did. But that was very different than here, where here you can be anything you want as long as you want it bad enough. You try hard enough, you want it bad enough, you can do anything. And so those are two very different mindsets that seep in through the littlest, tiniest things in everyday life, which I just am starting to like kind of realize, oh, that's why I react that way, or that's why I have a problem with this, because of these like dual things. That's one.
Well, from my observation, I think you've been adjusting and are adjusting very well at all times.
Thank you.
You have a very open mind and you're culturally interested, so that's a big part of it.
But I do want to throw a word of caution just as a disclaimer. I think those two are just kind of redundancies, but that's okay, we'll go with that. I am open-minded, and in some ways I'm more open-minded than many or most people, because I do have two different cultures and I like learning about culture. So I do have, but there's this other way of looking at this or thinking. But I have plenty of closed-mindedness too, including being open-minded can be closed-minded, I think, too. I don't know. But I was thinking about that this week. Maybe I'm being too hard on myself again.
Well, as I've said, that's the case before. But I like what you talked about, kind of in connection to what you just said with two cultures. You know, I think that always brings an incredible perspective to somebody when they have that dual identity. You know, especially when you have more than one language. I think it just opens up a world of context that you wouldn't have with just one language. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? Like, do you have a preferred language between Romanian and English?
You put the video in today's class thing.
Shout out to Anne Prado, by the way. We watched your video in class.
I loved it. I really loved it. It like sparked so many like, ooh, I want to be part of this stuff more. But so when I went back to Romania the first time, I was in 5th grade. I came here when I was in 4th grade, and at the second half of 5th grade I went back and everything was okay. I integrated fine, sort of. I mean, they were already too advanced, math-wise especially, but everyone was accepting. Romanians, I feel, are very accepting and moldable and impressionable, which is very interesting. I think, you know, that open-mindedness might come from Romania, from just the culture. Cool. So I went back, and I don't know, in 5th grade, I have no idea how politics came as a subject at a birthday party. No idea, in 5th grade.
Wow.
However, it came up, and I don't know what I said. It wasn't like, you know, some deep thing. I don't even know. It was probably something that someone heard their parents say, and, you know, like exactly a year, from like December, you know, 4th grade to December 5th grade, something like that. And so it was like crazy. Like, I was here and I went there, and so I have another perspective. Wouldn't that help? Like, oh, you have this other perspective that might get fresh ideas, brand new ideas, or so. I don't remember now what the question was, but that was the story.
No, that does help. I've experienced like a version of that too. I mean, not necessarily quite so in larger culture, but in subculture. And for the sake of, you know, being vague and not going into too much detail, because we're here to talk about you, but I've kind of observed that myself. If you're in a season where you were a part of a subculture or a larger culture, and then you leave it and then you come back, you're not received in the same way, and I don't think that's correct. Does that make sense?
I don't think you receive that culture back in the same way either. I think when you go back, you changed and you don't realize you've changed.
I agree.
And maybe that's why they don't receive it as well.
I agree.
it's a combination. I think it goes for both sides, but definitely it's there. Definitely that the culture shock and coming back together. That was the last step.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, and that's right. We
Scoot over a little bit though.
There we go. Moving set.
Yep.
Anyhow, oh, that's right. I was asking you earlier, kind of about having two languages in the broader perspective.
Yeah. So that was the one. Like it changes how you decide on things, how you problem solve things, the ideas you come up with, and like you are saying, and I wanted to say at least, you don't have to leave your country. I was recently studying Korean, Chinese, so I watch a lot of Korean shows and Taiwanese shows, and you pick up cultural notes. You pick up cultural, like you start getting jokes that no one else would get but the people speaking that language, because with movies and TV you are sort of put in that, and at first you have no idea what's going on, especially if you don't know the language, but you get used to reading the subtitles, or depending on the language and your proficiency in it, you pick it up. And you start seeing things. You want to like see, oh, I wonder, if this person has any more movies, or oh, I like that song, and you go and all of a sudden I find myself on YouTube looking at random shows from Korea or Taiwan. I saw this one show that I still don't know what was going on. They had this ladder and these like stars, these like singers or actors or whatever, guys, and they're moving around, like telling them go to 5, go to 6, go to 1. I have no idea what was going on. And then they were carrying each other on their. It was really weird. But you start finding all that stuff out, and you go back, you turn that laptop off or whatever, and you go back to your other current culture, and I think you feel like you have a different life all of a sudden. You have like a life outside of your life, because no one else will understand. If you started talking about that, no one else would understand that. Sure. But it's how else does it change? I don't know. Like your I think you mentioned it, your emotions or how you express yourself. All of a sudden you have different things, more tools to use. And what was her name for the YouTube? Anne Prado. She mentioned it, where you have, and the other movie or clip, whatever video, you have like a word that you cannot translate it. And like, for example, like ne, which is not how you pronounce it correctly, but it means like agreeing in Korean. And it doesn't mean just yes. I find myself, no matter what language, I want to say ne, ne, ne. I don't know, all the time. Because it can also be like a filler word from what I remember. I don't know. Okay. Now I'm more with Taiwanese or Chinese, but or like today actually, when Ben asked me, we were throwing that, and I had to say,
our class.
In our class we're participating for our classmates' presentation, and I don't know what I hit. We'll say vegetables. It was the food pyramid, and I wanted to say, maybe it was fruit. I wanted to say shu cai, which I think means vegetable or fruit in Taiwanese or in Chinese. I keep saying Taiwanese, but I'm now learning Taiwanese. That's a different language. In Chinese, and I wanted to say that, and I couldn't. And I think everyone thought I didn't have a fruit or whatever, but I had something that was not English. So you have like those expressions that you just have to say them in that language, and you wish other people could speak that language and you could all laugh it off.
Exactly. It gives you, like you said, more tools, more variety. If it makes you feel any better, early on in our class we had a guest speaker come in who taught us basic Russian.
And
da,
which is like cheating, because also means da, same thing in Romanian. But
there you go. But anyhow, it was an immersed class So she spoke to us, and it was really awesome. She spoke to us in Russian the entire time. And my only kind of second language is Spanish. The minute she started speaking to us in a language that was not English, I wanted to answer her in Spanish, which doesn't even make any sense.
I've been there though. I've been there though.
You know, I was like, wait, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm still here. So,
that's funny, yeah.
Yeah, you kind of started already talking about this, but I was curious as to what maybe some of your favorite expressions are in Romanian that you think define something better than what you like in English, or even vice versa.
It's so funny you ask it that way, because Romanian to me is not the language I would go for that.
Really?
I think it's probably the same for English with you, maybe, I'm thinking.
Okay.
It feels so much like you. It's kind of like English is my skin and Romanian is like my muscles. That's like gross and weird, but that's what I came up with.
It makes sense. I like it.
It's more part of me than on top of me. That sounds wrong. But
It's more part of you. Yeah.
So it's hard to like think of it in terms of language or to break it down.
Okay.
One that I came across recently, like if you ask me like other languages, I'll probably have more expressions. But in Romanian, îmi chiore stomacul. It's not the most polite things to say.
Okay.
But it means my stomach is gurgling or something like that.
Okay.
When you're really hungry and it makes like noises.
Oh,
that's what it
okay.
means. But it feels very different saying that than my stomach is gurgling, which you don't really say in English anyways. Or mor de son, which I think we're feeling. I am dying of sleep, but it means like I'm so tired. I'm like dead.
I like that expression better than English. I'm dying.
Mor de son, yeah.
I'm tired.
I think that's how you say it.
Mor de son?
Mor de son.
Son.
Yeah.
Mor de son. I like it.
You're
I'm
borrowing
it. I'm borrowing it.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. All right, so we talked a little bit.
I feel like that's a correct thing. I'm thinking,
Mama?
We'll see.
Well, something. We'll get there.
I'll get back to you on that if that's actually a Romanian thing. I mean, it's not in any other language, but
in any case, I learned something nonetheless. So
yeah. You learn how to say die, and I'm dying, and sleep.
Works for me. Okay, so we talked a little bit about cultural perspective, and I think that's really cool. I wanted to touch that.
And I wanted to say something about the languages.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It connects you to people, which is why I love it most now than I've done before. Before it was like fun, it was a challenge, it was just more egotistic, not egotistical, but yeah, more
fulfilling.
ego, yeah. But when I started in August, when I started these Asian Pacific languages, a few months later, I realized the reason I started was one, because I missed languages so much. I missed feeling like I had a brain, because at work I don't feel like I have a brain. And the third reason that I discovered doing it was to connect to these other people. And it actually ties into my travel to England. I was there it was supposed to be a master's program, but I was there for like 3-4 months. And speaking the same language, but culturally it's different. And when I came back, I felt so much more connected to those people. I felt like I could get their jokes, again with the jokes, but I thought I could get their jokes better. I could understand their politics better and their point of view regarding their politics or anything else better. And if I would meet an English person, I would know about, blood sausage or fish and chips that are nothing like I found here to be. And stuff like that. So learning these Asian Pacific languages, they're so foreign seeming, the cultures are so foreign seeming that I felt like if I could, and also you hear a lot of people, including, I'm going to be honest, probably my family won't like it, but even my family has stereotypes of Asian cultures, and I've had stereotypes. And it's so nice once you learn the language to understand why they might say things a certain way, whether that's content or actual words. And so when I felt that connection with those people, like I get so excited. I see Asian people, it's so bad. It's like a totally different new stereotype. But I'm like, oh, I want to talk to you. I don't know where exactly in Asia you're from, but you know, if you would place a Korean person in front of me, I would be so excited. Even though I will realize very soon that I don't speak even near beginner Korean. And also I don't really know, like, another classmate of ours talked about how he had this Korean dish that I don't know about. So, but you feel close to these people. You feel all of a sudden that they're not strangers. They're not this weird monster or alien or like weird person. I don't know.
It humanizes them.
Yeah, exactly. It humanizes them. And they become sort of like your extended family.
Yeah.
And at least for me.
Sure.
Yeah.
You kind of already answered this, I think, but what drew you to Asian culture and that language specifically? Netflix. It's a good answer.
So I didn't answer it. Yeah, Netflix. You keep going like further away from me.
You're like, I'm sorry. I'm running away. Why am I doing that? My gosh.
Yeah, Netflix. So I just started at my current job, and I was unhappy because I was going for film before, and then I couldn't find jobs, and I didn't really want to continue down that path either, not in the specific way I was going. And I was passing by my stepfather watching some show or movie, and in like our family room, and it was, I don't remember what kind of Asian show it was. I don't remember the country, but it was an Asian show. And I thought, that would be interesting. Like, I'll watch an Asian show. I feel like watching an Asian show on Netflix because I kind of was bored of everything else, or there was nothing else that I was watching. And when I was little in high school, people in my class, my friends, which I didn't really ever feel very comfortable with, I don't know, we felt it was like two different worlds. Most of them, but they loved Japanese. They loved anime. They loved manga. They were learning Japanese, and so it actually turned me off from it.
Gotcha.
But in August, for some reason, Dad, you know, I don't know how many, 15 years passed, and I was able to like wipe the slate clean in a way and be curious about it again because I thought it was interesting. And so I watched, what did I watch? I watched Atelier, which is a French word, but it's a Japanese show. And I know, it makes perfect sense. It's about this girl who wants to be a fashion designer, and she gets hired at a like lingerie shop, like a very small, one-person owned lingerie shop. And I loved it. I loved it because all of a sudden Japanese shows or Asian shows weren't violent, which is kind of the stereotype I had of Asian shows or movies. It wasn't violent. It wasn't samurai, which is another thing that, I don't know, I've been shown only that as far as Japanese shows and stuff. And it was modern, and it was interesting, and it was as relatable as any other show. Because another thing I grew up with was European movies and indie movies, which I don't like. And people, I think, assume I like it because I don't like Hollywood either. But I don't like that exaggerated drama and like pain and dirt and all this stuff. So that's what I was expecting of foreign films. That's my stereotype of foreign films, and it wasn't that.
Cool.
And so I went to Amish country with my mom. This is, of course, a long story.
Yeah. Off topic.
Well, no, it's very much on topic, but I'm just like really laying all the details out. I went to Amish country with my mom, and I was having some issues, health issues, whatever, anxiety, whatever it was, I don't know. And I downloaded on Overdrive, I don't know, it's not really a plug or anything. It's like an app for library borrowing.
Okay.
And so I downloaded Mango Languages on the go or whatever, passport, and Japanese. And because I thought I was watching this show, I'm like, I kind of want to know what they're saying. Like, little words make me like curious.
Yeah.
And so I put that on, and it was so weird. But at that time, I was so uncomfortable speaking. I was like a totally different person for some reason. I've changed a lot since then, but I was like uttering under my breath, or I had a fight with her, and I just, poured my attention into that.
Yeah.
And I just kind of kept going and going, and I found it very cool once I remembered words. And we talked about it today. At the beginning, you learn words really fast.
All right.
Okay.
Anyhow.
And then you hit a plateau, and I honestly did stop when I hit the plateau, but mostly because I didn't have any more shows to watch. So I switched to Korean because I saw Korean. When I was little, I was fascinated by the written language, and I saw this Korean show by accident because at that time, one, I still don't know if I could tell Koreans and Japanese people apart, but at that time for sure I didn't. And so I pressed on Netflix another show, a suggestion or something. Oh, okay, and it was Korean, and I could totally tell because the way they speak is very unique. Chinese, you can tell the words or whatever apart. Korean, no. It's like, oh, okay. They swallow a lot of things, I heard. So I was overwhelmed, but I liked the show. It was I cried. It's something about bean sprouts, or I don't know, but it was this girl who came to the city and she made these friends in her high school, and then she had an abortion. And that's the gist. I'll tell you about the story. It sounds much more dramatic than it is. I mean, it was dramatic. I did cry, but I cried at the very last episode, the middle, because it was two shows in one kind of. But yeah, so I pushed Korean aside after that because I was just like, I could never, ever understand, pronounce, know this language. So I went back to Japanese, but then I ran out of Japanese shows, so I went back to Korean with little shows, and I stuck with it. All of a sudden, I was learning Korean. And then the same thing kind of happened with Chinese. I saw a show, and I didn't like Chinese before, and I realized I don't really like mainland Chinese. Okay. Or the standard Chinese pronunciation. It's very shu, 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 as opposed to not as much that. I don't know. So yes, that's how I learned. I started. What attracted me to all these? It's all about. Well, now I watch Viki, not Netflix, but yeah, it's all about TV shows.
That's cool. So in a sense.
And hot guys.
Well,
Yeah. So. Which at that time I didn't think were hot, but now
it evolved.
I do. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's another thing. See, when you learn a different culture, you all of a sudden see people as attractive that you never thought you would see before as attractive. They stand
out to you now.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
So that's cool. So in a sense, with the TV shows and everything, it was the culture that drew you in. And then...
I don't want to say that, because when people say, oh, I want to learn more about the culture and all this stuff, it goes back to the same stereotype I had of foreign movies. Okay. Culture to me equals traditional attire and traditional music, folk music, and this and that. And I like modern things. I like psychology. I almost did psychology. I started doing psychology in college, and then I stopped. So I like the psychology of people. I like the interactions of people. Which is culture. But when you say culture, it makes me think of more, I'm not so interested in what they wear traditionally. I mean, it's not that I'm not interested, but it's not, I'm not going to get books on, my friend, she had the best meeting, but she gave me a Chinese cookbook because I was learning Chinese. I'm like, if I go to a place, sure, I want to try Chinese food, but I don't want to make it myself. I'm not enough. I don't know. Yeah.
Very cool. In addition to all this, I know you've traveled quite a bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Do you want to talk about what some of those experiences were? You talked about England a little bit.
Yeah.
And even here in the States, I think you can have small versions of culture experiences and differences depending where you're at.
Sure. I don't remember those because it's been a while. The last time I do remember, I guess, is LA versus New York, which a lot of people say it's different. And I didn't really go through LA, but I took the train down to San Diego, and the person was so different than I think any place, even Cleveland. Because she was so nice. She came to this guy who I was there with. I needed to charge my phone, so I'm like, oh, okay, he looks friendly now. That's the only time that I spoke to someone just randomly like that. I loved it. I want to do more, but it's not easy. But yeah, and he didn't have a ticket. He was trying to buy it or whatever. It doesn't really matter. I don't really judge. I don't think it matters that much, and we all die anyways, is what I say lately. So to like be so like adamant about, oh, you don't have a ticket. But I think he was trying to purchase it, but he couldn't get it through Wi-Fi or something. And she's like, he's like, can I purchase it off of you?
Yeah.
Because you can. And she's like, well, you know, it'll be cheaper if you purchase it online, so I'll just come back.
Like, whoa. Okay, so kind of as my final question for the discussion here, I really like your goals with kind of wanting to use your passions to create a more connected community. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Connected world.
Connected world. That's even better. That's even better.
Yeah, gosh, I really don't know what to say because I'm, as I was saying, as this is on pause, whatever, my brain is dying. So, which I don't think you could translate that in any language that would make sense. Moare creierul. Yeah, that sounds weird in Romanian. And by the way, we have like a little...
Oh, look at that! And we got the brain over there! Because I'm gonna need one by the end of this week.
Yeah, I'll take half, you take half.
Sounds good.
So yeah, I guess I said I really love the openness, the changes that my brain, that myself, that my persona, that everything went through. I don't know, did that make sense? That didn't make sense, but we'll pretend.
I hear what you're saying, though.
I mean, I never, again, I'll take it back to the guys. I knew when I came here, I knew I didn't like Romanian guys. I don't know why. I thought, oh, American guys are great. That wasn't the experience exactly. And we talked about my experience watching The Bachelor in Paradise. And Jared.
Lunch conversations in between class.
Yes, so with someone who has no idea what's going on next to us from the Middle East. They apparently don't have The Bachelor. Or they might, but not, I don't know, because they have weird bachelors. But anyway, so, but yeah, so seeing him is kind of like my experience too with guys here. They kind of put it on you that you're at fault for stuff, which maybe it's like an international guy thing too, but or a human thing to put it on the other person. But now I realize, you know what, it's not me, which sounds like duh to a lot of people, or are you sure to some other people. But yeah, this guy Jared, and what's her name, I forget. Gosh, I don't know, but she cries a lot.
Sounds like The Bachelor.
Yeah, and she's like infamous for crying, and she loves him, or she loved him, and she gave him this letter or something, and he was so clueless and a robot, and like there was, I don't know if there was any emotion, any blood pumping through him, because she was crying, and I think maybe he did like something like that, maybe that's even like too much. And it's not to like say something bad about this person. It's just that's how American culture, I feel, is. American guys don't know. I don't think they've been trained. And American guys is like such a huge stereotype because it's such a huge country and every part of it is different. And so I admit it's a very huge stereotype, but I think the culture isn't so much centered around the parents teaching the children, passing on knowledge to the children, whether a guy or a girl, including things like this, like how to comfort a woman. Like this guy had no idea, and he was just like standing there. And both me and this other friend who is also from, she's from France, and we both had the same exact reaction to it. So it's a very cultural thing. Yeah, to like, you deal with the person who's crying in front of me. I don't know. But that's not really what I was saying. I was saying that, again, a segue, and I'm the one like freaking out about space. But me. It's all about me. No, but starting watching these shows, Asian Pacific, I call it. I guess it is a real word, as I found out today. But yeah, Japan, Korea, Taiwan, or China. I think it was like even 2 years ago, maybe even let's say 2 years ago. Okay. I said to my friend, the one race that I don't like. She doesn't like me saying that I don't see color and all this stuff because I don't like, I don't know. I mean, I see color. I see it physically. I see it, but I see people. I don't know. Yeah, but not like I'm not a saint. I'm just saying. I don't know. It's like people. I don't know. Like let's all get along and not make a huge big deal out of this. But if I would have to pick a race or some people that I don't find attractive would be Asian guys. Like I did not find them attractive. I don't know. And I'm not the only one. Among my friends, there's one other friend who's the same thing, and then I talk to her now about all these I consider hot Asian guys, and she's like, okay, I don't see it. She has not, but she's married, so she won't get on this bandwagon, I think. Okay. But yeah, like it opened me, it changed me. Okay. We talk in the U.S. so much about race issues and gender, any issue that is, a group of people versus another group of people. Social injustice, separation of whatever sort by skin color, by sexual identity, by whatever. And like here is like such a simple and painless example, because I feel like all the time it's so painful. Like you have to force yourself to be politically correct. You have to force yourself to rewire your brain and rewire what you were thinking and taught and all this stuff. And you don't really have to put in that effort. You just watch that culture. You just become part of that culture. You just learn about that culture, but not too much. Because at one point you do get annoyed by the other culture, which is part of culture shock, because you start feeling that separation again. But there's like a fine line where you just become like, oh, they're just like you and me. I don't know. And there is not you and me and they. It's just like, oh, no.
Everybody in it together.
Yeah. And I don't really know if I said what I wanted to say, but your question was... Oh, bringing the world together, that's my goal. Yes, yeah, there you go. And, why not through watching just romantic dramas or whatever. There's some really cool, I hear, horror things, too, that I don't watch.
That makes two of us. You're okay.
Yeah.
You're good company.
If I do have to recommend one show, though, if you want to start with something in Asia, is W. W, like the letter W.
Like the letter W.
Well, although that's kind of 3, but yeah, W. It's, if you don't like romantic movies, if you don't like action movies, that has both of those things. So you don't have to choose. You don't have to feel bad that you're watching a romantic comedy. You don't have to feel unmanly if you don't watch an action. You have it all, and it's such an interesting show, and it's been copied or whatever. That copies something else, I don't know. But yeah, bringing the world together. Sorry, sidetrack again.
That's okay. No.
I don't know how, but I think the key is in language and learning the language and not forcing yourself. When I forced myself to like Asian culture or whatever culture, it's ineffective, and you don't really. And I think you become resentful if you're forced to do anything. I was resentful of Japanese, even though it didn't do anything to me, but because the people around me were so much into Japanese. my friend, I don't know if I should call her a friend still because we had a huge fight, and yeah, but she's very much an activist. And the moment she kind of sort of talks so much about, recycling, even though that's not the problem lately, but we talked about women and working with women, and I have an issue with that, but that's another story. Like I said, I'm not a saint, but she forces her change, like she forces you to change, and that I think is so counterproductive. That's just bringing up the stuff more than making the example. So to sort of go back to your question again, the same thing I want to do with filmmaking, if I ever get to that.
Arina wants to be a director, is where we're going with this.
One of the things I want to be is a director.
One of
yes,
the things.
Director, writer, actress, producer. I really want that to like promote other people's work and find other people which would do much better job than I can to like put things together. But that, and through language, through YouTube, through whatever I can to bring people to change without feeling forced to change, because no one's really forcing. It shouldn't be a bad thing to learn about someone else, to see someone in a good light, and then we make it into a chore. So to somehow connect the world, that's why like not community, because it sounds very like city, and it sounds very whoever says it sounds very much like people like me. But the world where there's people unlike me, like my dream honestly would be to be in a room of people from different cultures, and not everyone's the same in all the different cultures. There are plenty of annoyances, but to sort of like get along and laugh and be able to speak each other's language enough so the words that you can't translate easily, people know.
Yeah.
Easily. And where there's no real effort to get along. I feel like anything in life, if it takes too much effort, if you're trying too hard, then you're not doing it right.
I agree.
Which is kind of the opposite of what you're taught, but yeah. I don't know. That didn't really answer the question, but
it does.
Yeah.
You did kind of mention one of the mediums that you like to try to connect people with right now, and that's YouTube as well. So while you guys are watching, you guys out there, I will link Arina's YouTube channel in the description bar below, as we do all the time. So make sure to check it out, subscribe, like videos, all that jazz.
Yeah, so, and be patient, because I'm obviously not very concise. So yeah, right now I'm doing just vlogs. But we'll see. We're doing a movie. Well, maybe we'll do a movie too. We're doing a video next for my channel, which I guess that's a usual collaboration. It's my first ever collaboration and interview, and a lot of firsts. So yeah, but we're doing a language challenge, hopefully. And there was that's what I'm trying to do more of.
Very cool.
Keeping to this theme, I guess, is my niche, where I have something to bring. So if you feel like checking that out.
Awesome.
Such a seller of myself. You don't have to.
You don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean,
but please do.
But please do. So
no, for 5 seconds, I do want to say I really, really, really want people to at least try my channel. Again, try me. That sounds bad too. No innuendo intended. But yeah.
So check her out, guys. Come on, go see the channel, subscribe, like.
And if you want to see her, she'll be on there. Yeah, I don't know when, because I don't know how editing goes, but yeah.
It always goes how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I will link her channel, and when we upload her video for her channel, I will link that there as well. So depending when you guys watch that, ideally both of those links will be there.
Yes. That gives me motivation to do it faster.
So be sure to be on the lookout for both of those. I will link both of our social media as well, so you can, if you want to stay in touch. I only upload monthly videos on a good season, if that.
Oh, that's nice.
So, if that.
Yeah.
So, to stay in communication with us on other platforms, we'll have those available as well.
And unlike her, I upload all the time.
She uploads all the time.
Yeah, and not so much YouTube, but if you follow me, caution, if you follow me on Instagram or Snapchat, you will get bad singing for an hour because I keep Snapchatting and it's really bad singing. But sometimes it's good. So if you want to catch those good moments, you have to go through all the bad moments. But yeah, we're very opposite. We're very opposite.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I was gonna say, of course.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something clever with that.
Cutting you off.
No, you're good, and it just totally left me because it probably wasn't clever. So it's a good thing I forgot about it. So
yeah.
Yes.
Hold on.
Okay.
In that spirit, I want to share one story from this guy, this singer. Another plug that is unrelated to either of us. Ryan Starr.
Okay.
He's based in Brooklyn, New York. He's amazing, and I watched him actually first time. Another plug, David Cook. Went to see him from American Idol. How many name droppings? Even
we
though
did
it's
in one video.
Yeah, I don't know
as many
any
as
of
we
these.
can.
I do know Ryan Starr, sort of. I met him a lot of times. He's amazing.
Okay.
But he had this instance where his, I think, guitar, his journal from when he was like 14 of all these song ideas and everything, they all got stolen 1 year, 2 years ago or something. And I want to say that because it has stuck with me. You should never get too attached. Like if an idea just leaves or your laptop gets stolen. I've had my laptop, one of my laptops, the hard drive just died. Dang. And all of my files, photos, and all this stuff gone completely. Yeah. But like from him, like he had this awesome attitude. I think eventually, you can't get attached, and that was like a sign to life showing him, you know what, just don't get attached. And like I said, we all die, so we're not taking, as far as we know, unlike the Egyptians, we're not taking all of this with us. So yeah, it's all good.
Good advice.
Ideas come and go.
Ideas come and go. Change happens.
Flexibility.
Change is the most consistent thing.
Yes.
The most consistent thing is change. So go with the flow.
Yeah.
All right, guys. As always, thanks so much for watching. As we already said, like, subscribe. You know how that goes. Comment. Please comment. Interact with us. We like to talk, obviously, so we wouldn't be here otherwise. So
And if you have, I don't know, this is your channel. So.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, if you have your own channel, I always appreciate just
let
plug
us
it.
know what we can check out.
Put it in the comments. Yeah.
YouTube is a community-oriented place and a global-oriented place,
which ties in with this theme.
Ties in with the theme.
People working together. We're talking about that off camera.
Learning about different cultures.
I mean, I look at Lily Singh, Superwoman.
Yeah.
I watch, Ryan Higa. Those are my two. And they're one's Indian from Toronto, Canada, and one's Japanese, Hawaiian something in Las Vegas, I think he is. He's really cute and really hot. Yeah. And young, because somehow I like them young. Anyways, moving on. But I also watch, I don't know, but I watch Americans too, I promise.
I'll make up on the Americans we watch if that helps.
There is one guy, not Connor, I don't know his name, but anyways, but they all support each other and they all come together and they all coexist and it's awesome and support each other. It's not a competition.
Yes,
because they're so successful and supporting each other in the meantime. And they make it work.
To bring out the best in other people versus always making
teamwork
yourself the
makes
best
the teamwork
in the room.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, just trying to make the world a better place here, guys.
Yes.
Certainly, you can help us with that.
Yeah,
so.
if you try it, you'll see that competition is it's not overstated,
overrated.
Overrated, yes, yeah.
Overrated.
Language problems.
Language. Oh gosh.
Yeah,
and I thought I was going to say something clever again, and it just left me.
I'm sorry. I keep cutting
no, don't be sorry. Sometimes it's good when I just decide, you know what, whatever I was going to say wasn't worth it. All right, thanks again, guys.
I feel bad.
We will see you next time.
Yes, thank you.
And how would you say that in Romanian?
Ne vedem în curând, soon. I don't know. Pe curând? Hasta la próxima vez. It's Spanish, but there you go.
I like that too. Until next time, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Peace, love, and compassion, y'all.